Hi Year 8, today we're going to be looking at the Greatest Showman and typography. In our lesson today, I'm going to introduce to you typography through exploring the works of artists. Then we're going to explore how typography can be used to express words by using different fonts and illustrations. Then we're going to design our own typography art using a combination of hand-drawn lettering and expressive illustrations. What is typography? Typography is a combination of words and art. Any form of art can be used to represent letters, words or phrases. This includes painting, sculpture, digital rendering, graphic design, or any other creative technique that the artist wants to use. Typography can be used to express words in a creative way, and that's what we're going to be working on in today's lesson. I want to show you some examples of artists who use typography using different mediums. So we've got some examples showing graffiti, poster design, sculpture, installation, photography, and even CGI. The first artist we're going to be looking at today is Peter Strain. So he's an award-winning illustrator from Belfast. He has a distinctive hand lettering style. He uses iconic quotes to create images with his words. Now, the way he works is by taking quotes and inspirations from films, books, art history, and even politics, and then he uses the words within those quotes to actually build up his drawing. So I thought this was a really artistic way of working with words and a really good way to introduce you to typography. We're going to be working with quotes today, so I thought this was a good one to show you. Emmanuel Wisdom. He's creative director of a company he set up himself called UNA Design. And his company specialises in typography, so they're a great one for us to be looking at. He creates unique typefaces, and all that a typeface is just a style of lettering. So what Emmanuel will do is draw a whole alphabet in the same style, and then that's the typeface. He also customises lettering. So there's some really good examples of this on the screen now. I want to draw your attention to the first image, which says, worry less, smile more. And we can see that he's drawn the word smile in a different style of lettering. So he's used a curvy style of lettering to represent the meaning of the word. So you could say that this style of lettering used for the word smile looks like a happy style. The second image, where he's pulled attention to the word love, and he's done that by making it bigger than the other words and also adding a white border, which helps the word stand out against the black background. And lastly, I want us to have a look at the third image. Have a look at the emphasis on the word joy. He's really brought that to life by making it 3D. So again, the style of the writing helps emphasize the word and the meaning of the word. So I want us to create our own word art using a really similar style to Emmanuel. So I've grabbed these videos from his Instagram page, and they're really good videos to show the process he uses to get to the final stage. So when I play you these videos, take note of the methods used and the different styles throughout his work. Right, let's have a look at the Greatest Showman fonts. First off, what is font, I hear you ask? Well, font is just a word to describe the style of lettering. So I found these retro looking posters which I wanted to bring to your attention because I wanted you to see the different types of fonts used within the posters. My favourite is the font used to show the word circus, and a similar one is used on the second poster at the top there. That decorative sort of style is really good for the use of certain words like circus. Just really helps to emphasise the meaning of the word. Now let's have a look at the film we all know and love, The Greatest Showman. The font used on the poster here is gold, is 3D, and it's actually quite neat and smart. You might want to incorporate some of these things within your work. I also wanted to show you the album cover. Notice how they've used a different font on the word reimagined. Again, this emphasises the different meaning of the word. So notice how you can use different fonts to show different things within the word. I found this really great trailer that pulls out all the famous one-liners and quotes from the movie. So when you're watching it, I want you to pay attention and see if you want to pull any out for your own to use within your work.
Sir, Phineas Taylor Barnum.
This isn't the life I promised you.
But I have everything I want.
What about the magic?
This venture you propose is risky and somewhat bizarre.
It's a good bet is what it is, sir. People don't want to admit it, but they're fascinated with the exotic and the macabre. It's why we stare at it.
A place to be transported. A place where people can see things they've never seen before. Huh?
PT Barnum, at your service. I am putting together a show, and I need a star.
I see a soldier.
No, general, riding across the stage with a sword and a gun.
People aren't gonna like it if you put us on stage.
Oh, I'm counting on it.
Carriages, sides of trains, trolleys, crates, milk bottles, everywhere they look. Barnum's American Museum.
Does it bother you that everything you're selling is fake?
Do these smiles seem fake? Doesn't matter where they come from, the joy is real.
Oh, Mr. Bennett, that word you used to describe my show has a nice ring to it.
People come to my show for the pleasure of being hoodwinked. Just once I love to give them something real. This is the life I promised you.
Why do you need to tour the country?
Why did Napoleon march on Russia?
Napoleon was defeated.
Napoleon didn't have a 60-piece orchestra. I can get land down by the docks for almost nothing. All we need is a tent. Show must go on.
I've included some of the quotes on the screen now. You don't have to use these quotes alone. You can use anything from the film. They can be quotes or they can be lyrics from the songs. Remember, lyrics can be really powerful and it'd be great to bring them to life as well. So use whichever you want. Just make sure you're inspired by it and that comes through in your work. Here are some examples of hand-drawn quotes from The Greatest Showman. I just pulled these from a quick Google search, but I want to chat through them with you as they're really good examples of what you need to include in your own designs. So, image 1. This is a good example of how the quote should be broken down into different lines. So you can see the quote, "No one ever made a difference by being like everyone else," is broken down into 4 lines. And notice by putting the word difference on a different line, we're able to emphasise the word. This, as it makes it bigger to fit into the space. Keep this in mind when you break down your own quote. Then image 2, notice how the first line is curved. That curved line, along with the radiating lines coming from the top of the sentence, helps us to represent the meaning of the word shine. Then image 3. I love the silhouette used on this image. It's instantly recognisable to the film. Although if you do add drawings, I want you to remember the most important element of our piece of work today is going to be the words used and the style you draw them in. But if you do add drawings, just keep them simple, like the outline drawing used in this one, because this will help to not distract from your typography. Then image 4. This one's a great example of the use of different fonts. So let's break it down a little bit. There's 3 fonts used on this image. The first one is quite neat and simple, and this is used for the words with less impact in the quote. So the words the, is, that, of. And then we can see the second font used is quite a bold, decorative font. And for that, they've used this for the most important words within the quote. So these are words with most high impact, the ones with more meaning. And these are noblest and happy. And then we've got the third style of font, which is a calligraphy style of font. And calligraphy just means a hand-painted style of lettering. And they can often look quite ornate or have more of a fancy feel to it. So it's perfect for the word art. And then image 5. This is a good example as it pulls all the elements we've discussed together. They've got the different fonts to represent the different meanings of the word. They've got curved lines. They've got different styled size lettering. And they've also got added drawings to help give it a more completed look. Now we're going to finish with my favourite image, image 6. Again, it pulls together all these different elements. But what I wanted to really talk about for this image is the size of the quote you pick. Now, the bigger the quote you pick is going to make it easier to break down into lines. It's going to make it easier for you to include more detail and give you more chance to experiment with different styles within your drawing. I start out my drawing by outlining the area I want to fill with the quote. Then I break down the quote, knowing how many words I want per line, and then I'm working out how many letters per line I need to make sure I make the most of the space. Notice that I've added a star on the first line. This is just making sure that all the areas are filled. Then I'm adding different fonts in for the different words. And then I finish the drawing off with some extra illustrations. I've used pencil and finished with pen, but it's okay if you just have pencil, or you can add pen for the more complete look. Let's break this process down into clear stages. So first we're going to take our quote and break it down to work out which words are going on which lines. Then I want you to draw the area out on your piece of paper, making even amount of spaces for the letters on every line. If you have any empty spaces, you can fill these up with little drawings to make sure you're making the most of the area on the paper. Then I want you to pick your fonts, and then I want us to choose which words we want to emphasise. Now remember, you can emphasise your words by choosing a bigger, bolder font or adding additional illustrations to draw attention to the word itself. Your final typography piece should include a quote from The Greatest Showman. It should be broken down into lines using more than one font, and it should have emphasis on one or more words. And you can do this emphasis by using extra illustrations or editing within the chosen word. It's time for the drawing task. So let's recap on how I want you to structure your work. First off, I want you to spend around 45 minutes drawing your quote. I want you to start off by picking your quote first, remember there's a slide you can go back to help you pick what quote you'd like to use. Then I want you to break it down into lines. Then I want you to pick one or more fonts for you to use. I'm going to put some examples of fonts onto the team's assignment. So go back there and see which ones you'd like to use for inspiration. Then you're going to need to decide which words you'd like to emphasise. And then you're going to emphasise these words by adding little doodles. You can bend the lines or add illustrations or even make that word slightly larger than the other words. I hope you had fun making your typography pieces of artwork today. I'd like you to take a photo of your final piece of work and submit it through the assignment on Teams, please. I've also included 3 questions on this page, so if you flip your paper over and just answer the questions the best you can, and also send a photo of them in and hand them in the same way, please. Thank you.